ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैवं नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवत्ये उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna, everyone. Today I am going to summarize chapter 11 for you. So I took some notes from His Holiness Jayadeva Swami Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada's purports. So as you all know, Dhruv Maharaj was attacked by an illusory onslaught of yakshas, who are the mystic followers of Kubera. Now, this mystic onslaught was so overwhelming that temporarily he was bewildered as what to do. So he he was advised by Manu to take the next course of action. So if we are bewildered by Maya, or if we are not sure sometimes what is the right path, then we need to hear from those who can see the truth. Our own seeing may be good up to a point, but everyone finally reaches a limit and gets bewildered. Maya is so strong that she can bewilder even Lord Brahma, as we have seen in the Brahma Vimohana Leela. In fact, Arjuna, who was a friend of Lord Krishna and such a great warrior, was also bewildered by the influence of Maya. He was very advanced, very capable, but still bewildered. He therefore inquired and surrendered to Krishna. Please tell me what is good for me. I don't know. Then, after hearing from Krishna, he was cleared in his mind and he knew what to do. As we see in Bhagavad Gita verse, Arjuna Uvacha Nashto Moha Smritir Labdha Tvaprasadanam Maya Achyuta Sthito Asmi Gata Sandeha Karishye Vachanam Tava. So, Arjuna said that, O Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy, and I am now firm and free from doubt and am prepared to act according to your instruction. Dhruva Maharaj was also a liberated soul, and actually, he was not angry with anyone. But because he was the ruler of the kingdom, it was his duty to become angry for some time in order to keep law and order in the state. His brother Uttama was without a fault, and yet he was killed by one of the yakshas. So it was the duty of Dhruva Maharaj to kill the offender. It's the principle life for life because he was the king. So when the challenge came, Dhruva Maharaj fought vehemently and punished the yakshas sufficiently. But anger is such that if one increases it, it increases unlimitedly. In order that Dhruva Maharaj's kingly anger not exceed the limit, Swayambhu Manu was kind enough to check his grandson Dhruva Maharaj, and Dhruva Maharaj could also understand the purpose of his grandfather, and he immediately stopped the fighting. So, after hearing from Swayambhu Manu, Dhruva Maharaj followed his advice. He acted according to his advice. So, the lesson here is that after hearing, one has to act. Otherwise, there is no point of hearing. If we hear and we don't act upon the knowledge we receive, then what is the point? Here, knowledge means action. So, if we hear that a house is on fire, then we won't simply sit. We will call the fire department, we'll run out, ask for help, or do something. We won't sit just idly and do nothing. So, one has to act and also act properly. So, we have to act in knowledge. But how does we get knowledge? If you are in the mode of passion, then you won't have a clear understanding of what to do and what not to do. In mode of ignorance, one may not act at all. In the mode of goodness, one knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. So one has to hear from the right person, thoughtful sages, those who are sober and thoughtful. Having heard from them, Dhruva Maharaj placed his arrow after touching water, and these were not ordinary weapons. They were given by Lord Narayana himself. That's why it was called Narayana Astra. So these were divine weapons and they are launched by mantras. So they require self purification to launch these weapons. Even for devotional service, we have to be purified. For example, you take initiation or diksha and you become, in order to do that, you have to be purified first. And then you have to maintain your purity. You must be following regulative principles in order to serve the deities. As you know, there are a lot of rules and regulation. If you want to do deity worship, you have to undergo training and you should recite some mantras before entering the deity room. So the external purification is by taking bath, and internal purification is done by chanting the holy name of the Lord. So the weapon given by Lord Narayana was able to drive away the illusory scene and dangers created by Yaksha. Now, if I were to tell you that you all have Narayanastra and you are empowered to use it, you will probably laugh at me. But actually, you do have Narayanastra. The weapon for this age is the chanting of holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So this Narayan mantra is given by Narayana in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to us. And one is advised simply by chanting the Maha Mantra, one can be freed from illusory energy and degrading effects of Kali Yuga. As mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kaler dosha nidhe rajan asti he ko mahan gunaha kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha param vraje. So one can go to the supreme planet, Param Vrajet, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. This is specially meant for the people of this age, Kaler Dosh Nidhe. So this age is is Dosh Nidhi, right? It's full of doshas, full of faults. But the special advantage of this age is that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become purified of all material contamination and return home back to Godhead. There is no doubt about this. So one can attain perfection by chanting this mantra. There are so many misfortunes in Kali Yuga, but one great fortune is chanting of the holy name. Simply by Krishna Kirtan, our heart can be purified, and this illusion that I am this body and my body is meant for sense gratification, I am independent, I can do anything, I can control everything. All these illusions can be eradicated by the transcendental sound vibration. So, the weapon is there and it has been given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We just have to make use of it. Now, when Swambhu Manu saw that his grandson Dhruv Maharaj was killing so many of the yakshas who were not actual offenders, out of his great compassion, he approached Dhruva with other sages to give him good instructions. Lord Manu said, "My dear son, please stop. It is not good to become unnecessarily angry. It is the path to hellish life. Now you are going beyond the limit by killing yakshas who are actually not offenders." So it is very important to understand the instruction here that he was going beyond his limit, right? So anger in itself is not a bad thing, right? After all, it's an emotion given by God. if it was such a bad emotion, then why do we even have anger? But we have to use anger properly, right? We have to have controlled anger, not uncontrolled anger. But what ends up happening in most situations, people have uncontrolled anger and they cross their boundaries, right? And that's why it's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 16.21. Trividam narakasya yedam dwaram nashanam kamah krodhastata lobhas tasmad tatrayam tyajet. So Lord Krishna is saying there are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. We also understand by Bhagavad Gita only how this process of anger actually takes place, right? So, what is the first step as described in verse 2.62? Dhyayato vishyam pumsah sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodha vijayate. So, dhyayate vishyam pumsah, while contemplating on the object of senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from the lust, the anger arises. So, what is the beginning? Our contemplation on the object of senses. So, our contemplation leads to attachment. From attachment comes lust, and from lust comes anger if we are not able to fulfill those attachments. Now, what happens when the anger comes? Next verse describes it. Krodhad bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshad buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory happens. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down into the material pool. So, a Kshatriya is allowed to kill only for maintenance of law and order of the state. He is not allowed to kill or commit violence without reason. Violence is certainly a path leading to hellish conditions of life, but it is also required for maintenance of law and order of the state, right? That's why we see that there is capital punishment given for people who murder somebody or do some very abominable crime. So in law, there are different punishments defined, right? Because it's necessary for maintenance of law and order. But as far as Dhruv Maharaj was concerned, he was a pure devotee. And Swayambhu Manu told him that your life is meant for exemplary behavior. Now, this is a great lesson for all of us practicing devotees. If we claim ourselves to be part of Lord Chaitanya's movement, then we should never behave in a way which is unbecoming of Vaishnavas. If we wear a tilak, if we wear kanthi, and if we represent this organization of Lord Chaitanya, the movement of Lord Chaitanya, then we are expected to behave in a responsible way, right? We cannot behave like ordinary people and doing things which are unbecoming of Vaishnavas, right? We all saw recently very unfortunate things happen in ISKCON Patna, and those scenes were very disturbing, right? But these are a reminder to us that just by becoming devotees or taking this path of devotion does not mean we have overcome all the bad qualities that we had. We still have to constantly work on them. We still have to practice the instructions given to us, right? And the qualities of sadhu, a saintly person, as described in Bhagavatam, is titikshavaha karunikaha suhrada sarvadehinam ajata shanta sadhavah sadhu bhushana. So the person who's devotee, he's ajat shatru. That means he has no enemy. He is shant. He is titikshava. That is, he is tolerant, karunika. He is compassionate, suhridaya. He is well-wisher of everyone, right? Suhrda sarvdehinam. So these are the qualities described in Bhagavad. So Lastly, Dhruva Maharaja was advised to regain his natural position, which is of a pure devotee, and to render service to Supreme Lord, right? And by doing that, he will he will soon forget the illusory understanding of I and my, right? So Dhruva Maharaj was upset because his brother was killed, right? So my brother is killed, and I will teach them a lesson, right? This was the mindset he had. So by hearing from Swambhu Manu and other sages, he was able to overcome this mentality of I and my, right? In Bhagavatam, there is a very, very famous verse, 5.5.8, which says, Janasya moho ayam yam aham mameti. This aham mameti, aham means me and mameti means mind. So these are the conceptions he was able to overcome. And Lord Manu stated that Dhruva Maharaj, he also stated that Dhruva Maharaj, by killing Yakshas, had been offensive to Lord Shiva and his brother Kuvera, because the Yakshas belonged to Kuvera's family. And due to this, Kuvera was offended. So Swambhu Manu advised Dhruva Maharaj to uh, pacify them by, uh, seeking forgiveness from Kuvera. So this is a great advice. If by any mistake, we commit any Vaishnava prad, or we offend somebody and we realize our mistake, then we should go and sincerely apologize to them. So this is also a Vaishnava quality, where after realizing a mistake, we should go seek for forgiveness, right? So this is another lesson we learn from this chapter. With this, I would like to conclude. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. Vancha kalpaturubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha